I'm going to invite Paul to the stage, but first, to help to make the presentation to mark his glorious career, can I call on two of his former managers, Dean Salmon and John O'Mahony, ladies and gentlemen, to make their way to the stage. Thanks for joining us, Liam. Good to see you as ever. And John. Just before, and we don't want to embarrass him because he's here in front of us, but the poor choice that you had to deal with as Galway manager over your tenure in charge, what kind of a player was he? Over his career, how good was he?
Well, I suppose going back to '98, just before that final, I did an interview with for the Connacht Tribune, and at that time I said that Pádraig was the most skillful player since Sean Purcell. And if I was to assess his sort of playing career since then, I would say that Pádraig Joyce is the best footballer since Purcell, and possibly even on pair.
John, it's difficult to start comparing players from different eras, but all you can do is talk about the guy that you had under your wing for 7 years, 7 great years, and your memories of him.
Thanks, Ollie, and thanks for the invitation, by the way, to be here, especially on the weekend that's in it. I just made my way from Hope Park, actually, where they're refurbished museum, where they're getting a whole balcony ready for the modern day stars that have stepped down in the last number of years and stepping down at present. And when I was looking around at the table of legends here and all that kind of thing, I know Dilly and Billy are already in it, like, but they're preparing the way for Glen and Jay, and I haven't even got planning permission yet for the Gooch, like. They said I'll be applying in about 10 years' time. Now, one thing that I asked them about Ray Silk and Rocky's down there, like, they're going to have to go in for further planning permission and Rocky because the ceiling isn't high enough. You know? I asked them then about Ray Silk, where I was looking to stand for Ray Silk, like. And they said, no, that's over in the commentary box. So, that's over here. And I asked them about Tom Lavon, and they said, well, sure, Steve still played for Killarea. Look at what I'd say, you asked about Pádraig. Tomorrow morning, 15 years ago, the A versus B game for the Mayo match in Cave Park on the 24th of May was played. We trained on Sunday morning and we announced the team. And all going home from those 2 training sessions on the Saturday and the Sunday ahead of that game, I was very excited because I realised that I had a lot of future legends on my hands. And I know that Mayo had been in the All-Ireland in '96 and '97 and all of that, but remember Pádraig saying at that time that, you know, he was only going to play for 3 or 4 years, the All-Ireland would be gone, you know, so isn't it wonderful, like, we're here 15 years later, that he has just, if you like, called time on a career that was a most magnificent career. Now, when you think of it, sport can be very fleeting, particularly at international level. And I'll come back to the GAA in a second. I mean, Lance Armstrong was a legend. He's a legend no more. Tiger Woods was a legend. He kind of fell off the pedestal for a while. In fact, a few years ago, I saw him tell the Mick Culhan in the one picture, and somebody asked who was that with Mick Culhan. Tiger is on the way back, but in really genuine, what I would say about the GAA, the reason that legends in the GAA are never forgotten is that they're so close to the people. They'll pull them back down if they get above their station, but when they retire, they'll never forget them. And Pádraig Joyce will never be forgotten, in the sense that if you had Pádraig Joyce in your team, whether it was for Killarea or Jarlath's or Tralee or Galway, as I know so long for 7 years, you always had a chance. Those people at half-time in 2001 who said 2 things, that we were on the rocks and that Pádraig Joyce wasn't on top of his game, but we all know what happened in the second half. And I think in many ways that says it all. So Not only are they preparing a balcony for the statue of Pádraig up there, they told me there's a whole suite up there. But I just like to say it's a privilege for me to be here as manager, and I'd just like to pay him the warmest tribute. And I know that he'll continue to put an awful lot into the GAA at every level, and he'll be fondly remembered by everybody.
John, thanks for that.
I was the manager, and I knew well I had a meeting with Pádraig first of all, and because a lot of people were saying, well, Pádraig was at the end of his day and so forth, and so many people were telling me this, you know, you start building a new team. And we went for a cup of coffee, and I threw a lot of things at him, and maybe a lot of things that, you know, he was wondering what I was coming from, where I was coming from. So I left that meeting with him, and I was driving home, and I ran up one of my selectors straight away, and I said, we have our centre forward. And that's how confident I was of how he was going to perform for us. And just that, like, he had so many attributes as a footballer, but some of the things as well, like he was a great leader. He was, for me anyway, he was the leader of that team. And there was one other quality, like it was this self-belief in his own ability. And it's always the hallmark of greatness. And I remember we had a meeting before that, 2008 final, and with Mayo. And I went through the team, and I asked each player how he was going to perform, what he was going to do on the Sunday, and to tell the rest of his teammates. And most players were vague and aspirational, really, but you know, they didn't personalise it until I came to Pádraig. And at that time, like Pádraig, well, you know, the Mayo and their back was going to clean him out, according to the papers and everything. And Pádraig made this statement, he said what he was going to do, exactly what he was going to do, and on the day he performed to that, and he had a match, he really was man of the match for that, and we wouldn't have won that final without Pádraig and without the way he played that day. So it was that self-belief, it wasn't arrogant, it was just complete self-belief in that ability that he had. And you know, that's what Pádraig's I said, whether it was, as John said, whether it was playing with Kildare, or playing with Galway, or playing with Connacht, or playing with Ireland, it was the same self-belief.
Well, without any further ado, gentlemen, I'm going to show you, and thanks to Liam and John, ladies and gentlemen, two of us and the two of our lads. This is the years I'm going to get to Raymond Veal, is that what you call it? Yes, no. This beautiful watch, as supplied by Hartman Jewellers, is going to be presented to the man that we're now going to invite up to mark an unbelievable career. Ladies and gentlemen, would you show your appreciation for Mr. Pádraig Joyce?